Hooks is a massive subject. We're not going to be able to cover all of it, but we're going to cover some of the most important things regarding hook choices for lures. Now, this sort of hook is a straight shank hook, and the point is parallel with the shank. This hook is primarily designed for using with bait. When you pull a hook, you basically pull it from the eye, and because of the weight down here, the actual hook travels through the water in that configuration. It basically travels bend down. So when this hook is travelling through, and that is actually targeted at a structure above it, so it actually pivots back like that. It's great for internal hookups, but not particularly great for jaw hookups. For jaw hookups, we really want a point that is turned in more. This is a classic southern tuna hook. As you can see, the point is now pointed more towards the eye, so when that's travelling through the water, it has far more chance of actually getting into the fish. Now, things have come a long way over recent years, and we've started using these hooks, which are light tackle hooks, and you can see that the point is aimed pretty much at the eye, so when that grabs into a fish, it actually rolls in. Very, very effective hook, and the hookup rate on these hooks is incredibly good. Now, as you can see, it's a very light hook, and although it will bend under some pressure, it will go in very easily. For example, that hook will penetrate a fish's jaw at around about 1.5 to 2 kilos of pressure. We call that drag. So at 1 or 2 kilos or 3 kilos, that hook will go right in. Whereas obviously a hook that thick will not. That needs a lot more pressure. This one needs about 14 kilos to go in because it's very thick. Now, part of that is because not only the thickness of the hook, but the amount of hook you actually have to penetrate into the fish. And you can see here we've got very thick metal, and we've got a very large barb. So that takes an awful lot to get into a fish. The other sorts of hooks we have, these are the Pakula Dojo hooks. These are actually designed for trolling lures, and as you can see, it's got quite a turned in point. And the point's actually targeted at the eye, so when that travels along in a loose loop, that will actually roll into the fish. This hook can't be stiff rigged. If it goes through the water like that, and you basically come up against something hard, you'll actually fold the point. This hook really does have to be free swinging and free moving to work effectively. To go right beyond that, this is actually a jaw hooking hook. It's called a circle hook, and as you can see, the actual point is aimed below the eye, so that hook is actually designed to roll right into the fish. When you pull on that, that actually rolls in and locks onto the jaw. We haven't been using these sorts of hooks in lures, but I'm sure that we'll develop into this sort of hook in years to come. A very highly developed hook and very, very effective, and certainly used a lot in live bait. Now, as I said before, the shape of the point is relevant too. Now, there are lots of different points. Here we have a very fine point with a blade on the back, and we've got a blade on the barb as well. This is a cutting point that will cut right into a fish. It's not a particularly strong point. A stronger point is actually this sort of point, which, as you can see, is a cone. The cone is the strongest point. Now, when you buy a hook, the hook will probably not be as sharp as it could be. All of these hooks have large barbs and thick metal. Now, we can change all that by sharpening the hook.